When the young man came back in 1 year, bowed down the willer tree. He bowed to his knees and he wept, and tears bowed down the willer tree. Then boldly up stepped the eldest one, bowed down the willer tree. Oh, you make a wife of me, she said, I'll give to you a son, bowed down the willer tree. Well, the youngest one died in the sea, bowed down the willer tree. But her body, it washed up the stream, bowed down the willer tree. And as the tide kept a-rolling in, bowed down the willer tree. It's further up the stream when she bowed down the willer tree. There was a young miller's son on the bank, bowed down the willer tree. He'd set his hook and a fishing was, he bowed down the willer tree. But there he hooked the youngest one, bowed down the willer tree. And he pulled her to the shore, he did, bowed down the willer tree. So frightened in his heart was he, bowed down the willer tree. He hollered for his father, come now see, bowed down the willer tree. And seeing the yeller hair, he thought, oh no, bowed down the willer tree. Oh no, this be the youngest one, bowed down the willer tree. Well, they had a big kettle in the back, bowed down the willer tree. And they boiled off the flesh right down to the quick, bowed down the willer tree. Her bones they put all in a sack, bowed down the willer tree. And they put 'em next to the door out on the porch out back, bowed down the willer tree. Now don't say a word to your mother, son, bow down the willer tree. She's got no sense and can't hold her tongue, bow down the willer tree. But the miller's wife looked in the sack, bowed down the willer tree. And nosy she was, she pulled that one out, bowed down the willer tree. But what she grabbed was a hand of hair, bowed down the willer tree. Said this must have been the maiden fair, bowed down the willer tree. Well, along come a bard, he's a playing his harp, bowed down the willer tree. And he asked the old woman for something to eat, bowed down the willer tree. Said, I will set a table so fine, bowed down the willer tree. If you'll haul away that sack there fine, bowed down the willer tree. No, it's thine. Bow down the willer tree. If you'll haul away that sack, it's thine. Bow down the willer tree. Well, he ate and he ate till he held no more. Bow down the willer tree. And he picked up the sack and went down the road. Bow down the willer tree. That night as he sat neath the, that night as he leaned against the old oak tree, bowed down the willer tree. With the firelight he saw just what was there in the sack, bowed down the willer tree. Oh Lord, it's the maiden of the king, bowed down the willer tree. How shall I hide, Now here's a story about that I'll sing. Bow down the willow tree. And as he laid the bones and the hair all on the ground, he said, why, this'll make the fiddle play the finest tune. Bow down the willow tree. Now there's a line in there that I missed, but we'll get it. Out of those bones made a fiddle true. Bow down the willow tree. Made the prettiest sound you'd ever hope to hear. Bow down the willow tree. And he made a fiddle case of the long thigh bone. Bow down the willow tree. And he made fiddle pegs of her little finger bones. Bow down the willow tree. And when it come time to string that bow, bow down the willow tree. As he looked about for something to string her with, he settled on her hair, said he. Well, I'll settle on her hair, said he. And as he went along, he sang, bow down the willow tree. I've made me a fiddle with the king's hair, with the king's daughter's hair. Bow down the willow tree. And at the wedding feast, don't you know, bow down the willow tree. Why, that's just where that bard did go. Bow down the willow tree. And as they raised the very first toast, bow down the willow tree. The eldest stood to make her boast. Bow down the willow tree. Oh Bard, it's out, cried she. Bow down the willow tree. Take out thine fiddle, play a tune for me. Bow down the willow tree. And as the bard placed it under his chin, bow down the willow tree. Well, that's when the youngest began to sing, bow down the willow tree. And as her hair hit the strings, bow down the willow tree. Said Willie, oh Willie, you married, let's see, my sister, she was the one done me in. Bow down the willow tree. My sister, she was the one done me in. Bow down the willow tree.